Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Project 351.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to have Mr. Wayne Labby, who's here tonight, just speak briefly about Project 351. And we also have a student presentation from Victoria, who is with us, and she's going to present on her experience with 351. So, Mr. Labby, if you don't mind, if you'd like to just say a few words.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Vidgen, school committee members. Thank you for inviting us here this evening to talk a little bit about Project 351. As you may or may not know, Project 351 is all about celebrating the power of young people as a force of positive change in their communities. For a year's term, each city and town selects one 8th grade representative and ambassador, and Project 351 inspires their sense of possibility through service experiences, leadership training, exposure to issues, and opportunities that challenge and enrich. Each year, the Wickham School is tasked with choosing one ambassador to represent the city of Marlborough. We ask the 8th grade staff to select one representative from each of the 8th grade teams that they believe embodies what it means to be a Project 351 ambassador, a student that has an ethic of service and the values of kindness, compassion, and humility. The teams nominated the following 4 students: Rochelle Volsey, Abigail Carroll, Molly Horry, and Victoria Villar, 4 amazing young ladies. They were all excellent candidates, but one stood out a little above the rest, Victoria Villar. Victoria has already started her own Etsy business and donates a percentage of our proceeds to the Best Friends Animal Shelter. I am happy to present this year's Project 351 ambassador for Marlborough, Victoria Villar. Victoria is going to tell us a little bit about her experience so far with Project 351 and her plans for the future. Victoria?
Okay, so can you advance to the next slide, please? Okay, so Project 351, we do a lot of service projects, and so we meet every week, multiple times a week in meetings, and we discuss about how we can raise awareness and serve in our state. Next slide, please. So far we've had Service Leadership Academy, where we would work with the Celtic Shamrock Foundation and speak to the mayor and his wife, and we would talk about the problems in our state and what we could do to fix them. Next slide, please. So this is my service here team. We meet a couple of times a month and we work on service projects together and figure out ways we can help. So next slide, please. So our current project for May is our Cradles to Crayons clothing drive. And so we're collecting clothing around the state to give to kids who don't have it. And my goal is to collect as many clothes as I can in Marlborough and other neighbor towns. And I also want to do other projects related to animal shelters that go hand in hand with the Etsy shop. Next slide, please. Oh, never mind. That's the end.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to recognize Ms. Heather Roach, who may be on the call as well, for her outstanding leadership and continuing to make this available for our kids. So, Mr. Labby and Ms. Roach, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you, Victoria, for the presentation. Don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening, and definitely want to recognize Ms. Roach for all her help and participation with this. Thank you.
Questions from the committee? Ms. Hennessy.
I just actually wanted to personally thank you all for continuing to keep pushing for us to be a part of this, because I think, as we've all talked about, the importance of community and our civic support, and I just appreciate that you guys are doing all you can to make this continue to happen, so thank you.
Very welcome.
Ms. Bodenhanger.
Thank you. Victoria, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
So if people wanted to donate clothes, what should they do?
So I was talking to Miss Roach about this, and we're planning to set up bins at the front office. And I'm planning to set up bins at my mom's job too, in the middle of Framingham.
Okay, so if people from Marlborough want to donate, they would be able to bring clothes to Whitcomb School.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Great job.
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none. Thank you very, very much. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Next up, Mr. Mayor, I do have the MHS Student Advisory Committee update. And just going in order down the sheet, I think first we'll ask if Hattie is available and if she'd like to speak first. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Riley. Hattie had a conflict, and so let's go next down the list to Miss Abigail Hennessy.
Hi, my name's Abby Hennessy, and I'm here to talk about the impact of mental health check-ins between teachers, our staff, and our students. As we all know, this year has been very challenging for everyone dealing with the pandemic and trying to maintain our lives as normal as possible. The numbers of reported symptoms of anxiety and depression across the board for adults and children have doubled since before COVID. So being connected with people around you, including your friends, family, and really anyone, is more important than ever. Everyone needs someone to talk to, and teachers' mental health check-ins are a great way to do that, since many of the teachers are regularly seeing students every school day or even over Zoom or Google Classroom. Over these past couple of months, my teacher, Mr. Devlin, has done fun mental health check-ins every day. As an example, he might say, "Tell me what emoji you feel like today," to "Tell me what giraffe you feel like today." He also includes a chat box where you can elaborate more about how you're feeling in private, but gives the opportunity for students to share their thoughts or feelings if they want to. By Devlin doing these check-ins, he's been creating great relationships with all of his students and giving them a safe space to make connections and share their feelings. It's their choice to talk. Also, if someone is not in a good place, he offers for them to come talk to him, or if they are not as comfortable with him, he tries to offer them to share it with someone else or even connect them with others that could help. All these check-ins and small opportunities can change a student's day or make them laugh and provide a small touch of care and support that may just be the difference in making a much-needed connection. I think it's very important that students get a little giggle, smile, or a check-in every now and then at school. It's like it can become a safe space. Devin got these ideas of mental health check-ins in a collaboration with his math supervisor, Miss Russo. Miss Russo came across some photos of mental health check-ins when browsing math teacher Twitter, and she shared these ideas with all of the math staff. One specific math teacher that she follows on Twitter decided to collect all of these types of on-scale related to your emotions photos and pull them up in one Google document. Ms. Russo said, "I love these emotion images," and started using them at the beginning of math department meetings with her staff to get a sense of how they were doing on a particular day. I believe if all teachers were able to do this with their students before their class gets started, we would have a more connected classroom and a community. A simple question of how you are doing today can change a person's whole day and point in a positive direction. Small things like these mental health check-ins could really help all of us. People with mental health issues could talk more about how they feel and create more opportunities for relationships, and even though we have so many limitations due to COVID. I'm sure this may be happening in other pockets around the school, but these opportunities have been shown by Devlin and Ms. Russo and have been a great spark to help our student body when we really need them.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Any questions? Thank you very much.
Next up, I'm sorry.
Who's up next?
Next up, we have Jessica talking to apparently to return to full in-person learning. So Jessica, please take it away.
Okay, hello. My name is Jessica Rosenzweig, and I'm a sophomore at MHS. Today, I wanted to share with you student thoughts and feelings about the full-time return that happened back on April 27th. About 2 weeks ago, I released a Google form to students asking their opinions, getting around 50 responses. A lot of students who responded shared similar thoughts. Some noted that it was really nice to be back, and they liked it a lot more compared to being hybrid or remote. Many, as well as myself, have also said that being back has made them much more productive. Additionally, students have appreciated the fact that it is much easier to participate and ask quick questions since everyone is in one physical space. Overall, people have been really happy to be able to talk with friends and have a more lively and fun classroom environment. It has been nice to gain back some normalcy and consistency when it comes to school. In addition to this, I made sure to ask how fully remote students felt about the transition and if it has affected their learning experience. The overall response I got was that students who chose to stay fully remote are happy with the decision they made, and it felt like it was the best one for them personally, whatever those reasons may be it already having a schedule in place or feeling more comfortable in that type of learning environment. Some students who are fully remote did express some frustration around the fact that some teachers are now less attentive to kids who are on Zoom. However, there were a few students that noted they missed hybrid or didn't like being back. Some kids mentioned not liking the rules or being frustrated with them. A couple of other students also mentioned not feeling comfortable at times with the lack of social distancing. One point that was brought up was how crowded it could get during transitions or dismissal. Personally, I've been fully remote this whole year and have not been back to the building since March. Being back full-time has been a nice change. Things are obviously a lot different than they used to be, but it is also really nice to see people again and have a sense of normalcy back. At first, it felt like a lot to transition from being home all the time to being in the building all the time, but I am getting more and more used to it. I can tell teachers are really trying their best, but also seem excited to see more students. It has also been a joy for me to meet some of my teachers for this first time, as well as seeing old ones. Like I said earlier, being back full-time has helped my productivity immensely and has helped lessen some of my stress and anxiety around school. I would also like to mention I have felt very safe while being at the school. I have overall had a good experience with being back full-time and really glad I made the transition. I want to conclude by thanking you all for taking the time to hear students' perspectives. I think overall being back in school is improving the learning for many, and it is so nice seeing people again. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Jessica.
Any questions from the committee? Ms. Hennessy?
Again, just a comment that Jessica, thank you so much, because it is good to hear about a student's perspective. We can only surmise, but I appreciate you giving a little bit more intricate details. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so
very
much.
All right, and we have Risha, who's going to talk about the freshman vision for the future. In just a moment.
She there?
Risha, I see online. Are by any chance are you muted?
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. We can hear you.
Good evening. My name is Risha Kandaria, and throughout the year I've presented about freshman experiences. Last week I sent out a Google form asking freshmen some questions about the overall school year. I received 35 responses total. The question that got the most information was whether mental health was talked about enough and if students felt supported throughout the year. The majority of students felt like mental health was not talked about nearly enough, especially considering the circumstances of the school year. To go more into detail, a few students felt like the only time it was addressed was during the bracket situation, and that they expressed that the response from that situation was also not good enough. Also, a number of students stated that they wish teachers understood that some students were struggling during online classes without any frustration. However, students did feel more connected to their teachers and peers and felt like they had more support once they transitioned to classes in person. Something else that many students commented on was about homework. A question on the forum asked whether students felt as if the lack of homework this year affected their ability to learn the material as well. Some students said that their ability to learn was not affected and some said it was affected. The students who said that the lack of homework didn't affect them said that they didn't feel as stressed or overwhelmed. The students who said it did affect their ability to learn, it took longer for them to learn the material, and that it also felt like some teachers were struggling to adapt to a homeworkless way of teaching. Another question that was asked is if there was anything we did differently this year that should possibly carry over to next year. Many students said that teachers should only give homework if necessary rather than giving busy work. Many students also said that doing a majority of our work online is something that they would really like to carry over to next year because it is much easier to keep everything that is assigned organized. The next question that was asked is if there was anything they thought should not be carried over into next year. There are a lot of things that students said, one of the most responses being that they did not having classes online, even if it was just for their last period class. A lot of students also said that they hope we're able to have lunch at school next year because having to go home for lunch in one more class and then having to go all the way back to school for clubs and sports was very difficult. A couple students also stated that teachers gave too much leniency throughout the school year. They said that they do understand in some cases the students do need leniency, but it also encouraged procrastination to students who would otherwise be able to complete the work in a proper time frame. Majority of students also feel that they are mostly prepared for next year, and they also felt like this year went pretty well considering the circumstances. That's all, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Risha.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Any questions? Thank you very, very much for doing that tonight.
Thank you. And next up, Mr. Mayor, I have Mr. Riley here. And additionally, I believe Ms. Casey is online with us, if I can see her. Thank you for coming tonight. And it's going to be a presentation on the Red Carpet Gala and the All-Nighter event, which is joining forces for a wonderful event for our kids, as well as an update on graduation. So I'm going to ask Mr. Riley to present on these. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Bergeron. Thank you, Mayor Vigent, members of the committee, for having us here tonight. So quick few updates on graduation. Thank you, Mr. Diaz, for handling the PowerPoint. You can go ahead and go right to the first slide. So graduation is still being held at Noble Field as originally planned. And go ahead, Mr. Diaz, to the next one. So some of the details on this slide. Number one, we are consolidating our graduation ceremonies based on some new allowances from the state guidelines. So graduation is currently being planned to be held on June 5th between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. We'll have 3 waves of ceremonies, up to 90 graduates per ceremony. That's a real plus for the students, as they wanted to be in the presence of more of their classmates when they graduated. There was some talk amongst parent advocates and the school about whether or not we try to pull off one large major ceremony at Noble Field and do a big outdoor event. I know some school districts are going in that direction. One of the things that we're trying to accomplish is the balance between how many students we have at the ceremony, how many spectators we have at the ceremony, and what the experience is for both groups. So we feel that if we try to bring in as many folks as we can, graduates and parents, and provide an acceptable number of guests for immediate family, grandparents to be at the event, if we provide that for everyone, then there's going to be quite a few people who have a pretty poor viewing experience of the ceremony. As we, I think, set the tone last year, we have a very high expectation for the quality of the product we put out when it comes to graduation. I feel that many of the families, if not all of them last year, and their students were very happy with the product we were able to put out amidst the COVID pandemic. And so we're going to continue with that trend, and we have a really solid plan for this year to invite more graduates and more families, but still have a wonderful experience for all of them while they participate in the ceremony. Okay. Rain delays. If we do have a rain delay, we'll be looking at pushing the ceremony back into the afternoon of Saturday or into Sunday completely, depending on the weather. So that's our plan for rain delay. Students are currently in the process of submitting feedback to me via a survey that was put out to families last week. I will remind families who are watching this tonight that there is a deadline of May 14th in order to submit that feedback. That includes whether or not you plan to participate in the graduation ceremony in person, and it also includes which friends, you get to pick up to 2, that you want to graduate with, and the number of guests that you'll be bringing with you. Now, fear not, if families do not touch base with us, we will be reaching out to them in order to make sure that, again, we have our bases covered with everyone and what their intended plans are for graduation. Last year, we had about a 90% participation rate in our in-person graduation ceremony, so we plan to keep that going in the right direction. We'll make alternative arrangements for students or families that opt out of the in-person ceremony. Students may bring up to 5 guests to this year's ceremony. And there'll also be this year, which is new, a standing room area for seniors who want to participate in multiple ceremonies. That was an idea that was presented by some of our senior leadership, and they would like to be there and have an option for doing so. Okay, Mr. Diaz, go ahead and we'll move on to the fun stuff, which is the discussion of what our senior activities events will be during senior week. And we're very, very lucky, and we're very happy about what we're able to put together. Again, amidst the safety guidelines, but we feel very comfortable. Tuesday, June 1st, we're going to have our traditional senior breakfast at MHS, and that will begin in the morning. That's where we'll do cap and gown distribution and yearbooks. And we also have a little surprise for our seniors to help complement their graduation gown. Tuesday night, we are having the Powder Puff football game. And we have modified the rules based upon some of the MIAA's Sports Medicine Committee's modifications. It'll be a 7-on-7 flag football game in order to spread the field out. We'll have 4 pods of juniors and seniors that will participate in 1 quarter apiece. Each of our participants will be able to bring up to 2 guests with them that night that will sit in the stands. All seniors will be invited to also view that game as part of their senior year, bringing back something that we don't want them to lose. Seniors only that night. On Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to do our mandatory graduation rehearsals. The one on Thursday will absolutely be at Noble Field, and that gives us a chance just to run through the logistics with the students. And then Thursday, immediately following the graduation rehearsal, I am working with my fellow principals throughout the district to still organize our traditional graduation walk. And there's been some really helpful ideas presented by those other schools. We've talked about maybe doing the walk outside of the building this year, with the classes coming out of the building to see the seniors as they do their final lap before their big night before their big day on Saturday. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, Mrs. Casey and Miss Canonico, and they're going to talk a little bit about the big night before, on January 4th, our red carpet gala and our Operation Graduation.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Sarah Casey. I'm co-advisor of the class of 2021, along with Leah Canonico. And we're just going to run through our plan for the red carpet gala and kind of talk about what that's going to look like for you. So the red carpet gala is going to be in lieu of a more traditional prom. It's going to go on June 4th from 5 to 7 p.m. And then immediately after, the Operation Graduation event hosted by the All-Nighter Committee will take place. Both events are going to be held at Marlborough High School, and both events are just for the members of the MHS class of 2021, which keeps us within the state requirements of the 250 individuals at outdoor events. You know, we really want to celebrate the seniors this year and make as many individuals feel special. And so our goal is to really make the seniors the stars. We have a night of prizes and awards and photo opportunities, as well as the more traditional dancing, food, and games that usually take place at the traditional prom and the traditional all-nighter event. So our reasoning behind this is, even if the capacity numbers would allow for a more traditional prom, we really want to be mindful of keeping the 3 to 6 feet safety measures, separation between the students. not only at the tables, but especially on the dance floor. And so we wanted to take all of the best parts of prom, students getting ready, the photo opportunities, food, and to make sure that we do it in a safe way. So what I would like to do is kind of just take you through the night really quickly, just from the perspective of a student. You get dropped off at the high school and you enter the event down the tunnel on the red carpet, where we're going to have paparazzi taking pictures and celebrating you and calling out your name. And when you enter the foyer, there will be a photo opportunity in front of the Marlborough High School Step and Repeat banner, which is the banner that they have at all the award shows that, says the name over and over again. So we'll have a great photo opportunity there. The students will then enter the field house for even more photo backdrops that are being created by the different groups at the high school. Other teachers are donating backdrops. Some students are submitting backdrops. So lots of picture opportunities. We're also going to do the traditional voting for the prom court and the homecoming court. So again, we can celebrate as many students as possible. Students will then leave the field house and walk up the path to Vital Field. We're going to make it look like Hollywood Boulevard. We're going to have the white string lights, really deck it out and kind of transform the space. On Vital Field, we do have a caterer set up for some hors d'oeuvres. We are going to have a DJ set up on stage. And in front of the DJ, we are going to have the chairs labeled for each student for safety reasons, but also clustered so that students can sit with their group of friends. We're going to give out the senior faculty awards. We're going to re-announce senior superlatives. We have awards for everybody, sashes, tiaras, and crowns. We're going to announce the prom and homecoming courts as well. What we would like to do is in between each type of award, we want to borrow some of the prom dancing, some of that aspect where we'll play music, and we want to have a dance competition for anyone that's interested. Some of the dancing would be, the traditional line dancing, the Cupid Shuffle, the Cha-Cha Slide, those kind of songs where you do it as an individual. At the end of the night at 7 p.m., we will announce a Dancing King and Queen from our dancing competition, and then at 7 p.m., students are going to return to the school to change for the Operation Graduation event hosted by the All-Nighter Committee. Marshall's actually has donated for the night a bunch of different racks so we can create a coat check so students' formal attire can be kept clean and safe and separated so that they don't have to worry about it while they're doing their Operation Graduation. I don't want to speak too much because I know the All-Nighter Committee wants to keep as much of the Operation Graduation event a surprise for the students as possible. But I do know that, everyone's been working really hard and is really excited to have that event happen immediately after our red carpet gala. And so again, we're trying to really keep a lot of the great traditions and the most fun aspects from prom alive while we have the safety precautions in place, marking the spots on the floor to promote social distancing, hand sanitizer, wipes, and spray throughout all the spaces that will be used. Same thing with the picture opportunities, marking spots so we can have people take pictures together, but in a socially distanced place. And the caterer will be following the same safety precautions. Again, the dancing in between for the dance competition is songs that kids can do individually. Restrooms will have limits, and we're really just being very aware of all the safety precautions in place so that we can have an event like this, despite the circumstances. So we're really excited about everything coming together within the next few weeks for this to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many of the dads will be very happy that you're going to keep students 3 to 6 feet apart on the dance floor. So that's great. Questions from the committee?
Mr. Mayor, may I just say, I just also want to thank Ms. Jackie Plank and Ms. Allison Hathaway. They've been working very hard on their end as well. They're usually running the all-nighter committee, and although we can't do the traditional all-nighter, they're really doing a great job. So I want to thank Ms. Casey, I want to thank Mr. Riley, everyone who's been involved with this, but especially I just want to throw a shout out to Ms. Plank and Ms. Hathaway, who are working very hard to create some really fun opportunities, no spoilers, for kids that night. So thank you.
I hear someone special is going to be in the dunk tank that night. Ruin the secret.
Well, no, thank you very much for bringing some of the activities back to the kids. They really deserve it, and we shouldn't have to miss another year. So, Ms. Hennessy.
Thank you. I do want to give a shout out to you all on really thinking out of the box on the graduation setup. Obviously, we were really pleased with how Marlborough really made things happen last year under a lot of duress. And I think I can speak for, we had graduates there. And it was an amazing situation. And I have to say, I was exceptionally proud. So to see how you all have then moved it forward, keeping it in a really safe way for everyone to be involved, the students, obviously, the seniors, but the families. It's a big situation for everyone, and I appreciate you guys finding the balance of how to make that happen, and then really carrying it forward into some of the senior activities. I have to say, it really means a lot to me that you're going to try and figure out about the graduation walks, because that was not something that obviously we really had the ability of trying to handle last year. And that was sad, but it's the way it is, right? So I appreciate that you all are working to try and find solutions in a tough situation. And thank you for all of your efforts on working together to try and figure that out. One thing I'm gonna ask, which it may be included here, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask, because I think the kids love the opportunity of acknowledging some of the faculty members that have been an important person in their lives. And I'm hoping that might be an opportunity to be included, because many kids last year did not have the chance of necessarily getting to say their thank yous to that special teacher in their lives. And I think our staff really deserves that acknowledgement if that could happen. And that might have already been included, just not mentioned on there. So I apologize, but it means a lot. And I think it means a lot not only to the staff members that hear that special comment, but it means a lot for that student to be able to say, to the third grade teacher, you did it for me. I appreciate you. So.
Absolutely. We definitely have something in the works. So stay tuned. There's more information coming out very soon.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Any other question, Ms. Bodenhinger?
So I know you're probably not at liberty to say much about the all-nighter, but is it going to be off campus somewhere?
No, it will be at Marlborough High School.
It will be at the high
That's
school.
all going to be at the high school.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep. Mainly using Vital Field and the Field House. Those two areas to have some activities.
Okay.
It's just 7 to 11.
Right, but it kind of ended after they went in and changed. Then it just says it's going to happen, so I didn't know if it was going to go someplace
I think
else
Mrs.
to make
Casey
it
wants
happen,
to
Yeah.
maintain the secrecy of
Yeah,
of the
understood.
surprises being planned.
Yeah.
I think a lot of students will be lined up at the dunk tank. But there are a lot of different activities that are being planned. It's going to be a very fun night and help preserve some of the integrity of our traditions for our seniors. But we don't want to steal the thunder of the parents that have been planning that.
No, absolutely not.
You're not going to ask more questions about the event.
I have one, no,
You
but
don't
I
wanna
have.
spill the beans.
I have something that for those that may be watching different businesses, are there ways that different businesses or even individuals can provide things for the events if they would like to donate any items, whether it be cases of water or potentially food for the evening? I don't know, but is there a way that they might be able to help and donate items?
So as Superintendent Bergeron mentioned before, Ms. Plank and Ms. Hathaway have been working extremely diligently on behalf of the parents who volunteer for our all-nighter committee.
Yeah.
And trying to help organize all those donations. There have been a lot of different donations from parents as well, too. We've done our senior sign drive again. And, of course, the school is going to fill in as well for some of that.
Right.
But there's a couple of things that have been going on for fundraising with parents and also for donations from the community and from the local business community.
Yeah, I have to say, I personally know Ms. Ryan, and I've been a part of
I know
many
you
of the
have.
conversations.
Preaching to the
So,
choir
I mean,
when I
well, no, but I mean, I know Mrs. Hathaway and Mrs. Plank have been doing a yeoman's job on leading a lot of folks. But for maybe people that they have not necessarily been able to reach out to, I was thinking if people are actually watching tonight and want to help, might they be able to, at minimum, contact you so you can
Absolutely.
get them in touch with Mrs. Hathaway or Mrs. Plank to try and streamline something? Because, any additional support from our business community members would be great, so.
Absolutely. The more contributions, the better.
Okay.
And we'll put them to great use. Absolutely.
Great, thank you so much.
Any other questions? Mr. Caruso?
I'm just a question about the standing room portion of the graduation.
Sure.
I know that I'm going to have at least one person I know ask me, well, if you can do that, why can't you just have them all there in one big ceremony? So if you could explain a little bit more how that's going to work.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question, Mr. Caruso, and it really goes to the spectator experience, right? In terms of the families that come, if we have each student bring an acceptable number of guests, as we've tried to define over the years what acceptable looks like, then that starts to spread how many people are in the stadium or throughout the field considerably. And so when we started measuring things out, we looked at, okay, well, if we had every student bring an acceptable number of guests, and we've actually based this on how other schools ran ceremonies during the summer last year amidst COVID, we could have some families that are viewing the stage from 100+ yards away. So with the students, we can create a standing room on the track. We're talking about an additional 150 or so bodies spread out. When we start to add the 5 family members per student, that multiplies it considerably by 6 people per graduate. So that's why it spreads the field so deeply.
Okay, because I know one person was going to ask me that question. And I had a bunch of other stuff here that, quite frankly, in the light of what you're doing for these kids who deserve something after all of this time,
They do.
they're not important. But I do have one question. I'm just curious. You did mention the senior signs, I think.
Yep.
Do you have any idea when you might be putting them up? Only because I walk around my neighborhood every night now because I'm trying to become slimmer. And I'm really getting tired of seeing another high school in town signs on their lawns. I would love to see some Marlborough High ones fairly soon.
This is a fundraising activity for us, so we needed to provide ample time to give families a chance to donate. But all seniors will get a sign.
Great.
So they've already been ordered, and the turnaround is very quick for that. But they've already been ordered. They should be coming in, I would say, within the next week.
Great.
They should be in this week.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see them
we got
other than the ones I
confirmation.
see every night.
Mr. Matthews?
One last thing, you're also going to stream it, correct? Graduation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you, because I had a couple of points that I wanted to make. So number one, graduation will be live streamed again this year as it was last year. We will pre-record the speeches. I think we're all okay with that, and then that helps to expedite some of the ceremonial component of what we're doing in person that day. In addition to that, when it comes to the red carpet gala, we just want to be very clear that that event is for the senior students only. And I had some advice from one of the members of my school council who said, make sure you clarify, because when you say senior students, sometimes all the other students think they can't go, but then the parents think, oh, maybe I can go. It's just for the senior students, and we promise that we'll have a lot of photography there so that we can share the moment with parents as well.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
be
you all
there.
for all your support.
Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Riley. I'm going to need you in a moment. No, you can sit down for a second. I just wanted to update the committee on the spring 2021 COVID data. When I had released the report to school committee on Thursday, we had 10 active cases in the system. Currently, we have 6, with 1 at MHS, 1 at Whitcomb, 1 at Goodnow, 1 at Kane, and 2 at Jarrick. So that's to update that. As far as the cases in the city, since I released this to you, they've gone down. We're at 30, as of yesterday, we're at 31 active cases with a 2.15% positivity rate. Positivity rate probably will jump because there's less testing going on, so just don't take that as a one factor. I think we have to look at, again, as we've been doing, look at everything. but very, very low cases. I was able to just quickly get some data from the state today. We have more than 3 million people vaccinated. 3.8 million have at least one dose. The goal is to have 4.1 million people by early June, and there was 0 deaths today. Great milestone for the Commonwealth. The current cases in the city have obviously continued to decline. I did include the 4 factors from the state. All 4 of those factors are continuing to decline as well. So that was my update on COVID. My next item, the full return for secondary schools. I just want to thank all of the faculty and staff who've made the return successful. I really appreciate the collaborative working environment we enjoy in Marlborough. I'd like to take an opportunity to invite up Eileen Berry. She's the president of the MEA, to the podium to thank a community member for going above and beyond to assist faculty and staff in getting vaccine appointments.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the school committee members. I'm speaking tonight to publicly thank Katie Adams for helping about 20 teachers and staff in making vaccination appointments. Katie has 3 elementary children in the Marlborough Public Schools. She reached out to the superintendent in March to offer her assistance in making vaccination appointments, realizing that teachers just don't have the hours to spend maneuvering websites that had just recently opened. The superintendent referred Katie to me. I got out her contact information and she took it from there. Teachers contacted her if they needed help. She sat online, made appointments, got back to them. So I spoke with 2 or 3 people that, told me that they thanked me for getting Katie's information out. Because they were helped and they couldn't be more grateful to Katie for her assistance. So I just want to thank Katie again for helping those that needed it when they needed it, and her just kindness and generosity is really appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope the committee can join me in thanking Ms. Adams for going above and beyond to assist our faculty and staff. The next item is the update from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and the Department of Public Health. They are updating their close contact quarantine protocols. So DESE and DPH have updated the rule set around close contact protocols for students to quarantine after exposure to an individual who has tested positive to COVID-19. The new updated rules eliminated the 6-foot rule and now imposes a 3-foot rule for exposures requiring quarantine. I did include the sample letter from DESE if you move the close contact from the 6 feet to the 3 feet. I'm not going to read the letter to you. The trends in positive COVID-19 cases in the city continue downward. MPS has not seen an increase in cases from our change from the in-person learning for grades 6 through 12, which we've been doing now for 2 weeks. And we did not see an increased cases from a full return of students in grades 3 through 5 over the past month and a week. I did not bring this to the school committee at the last meeting as I did want to have some experience that we can share before making yet another change to our protocols. By not adapting this earlier, we might have had a larger than usual close contact quarantine at MHS last week. That was my decision, not the Board of Health, not the principal, not the athletic director. Consistent changes to the protocols can cause confusion and stress, and before asking you to make yet another change, I wanted to at least have 2 weeks of data so we could review it and make a good decision in our new schooling environment. With increased numbers of students in school, again, we have not seen an increase in COVID-19 spread or increased number of cases in school-aged children. I would feel comfortable making this change in the very near future. I do want to gather feedback from the committee on this change before sending anything to home to the parents. Teacher Appreciation Week. Thank you to Mayor Vigent and the school committee for helping us celebrate our staff last week at our socially distanced ice cream socials. The event is a highlight for my team and I, and we're honored to work with so many talented and caring professionals. Thank you to the PTOs and so many individuals and businesses that reached out and provided a special treat to our staff last week as well. Apparently it was ice cream week all across the district, so thank you so much. Special thanks to everyone who donated. While there were test schedules, I do plan on doing walkthroughs to personally thank the faculty and staff once we pass this testing period, and I will invite the school committee to join me on that as well. Framingham State graduates. I want to thank Dr. Kelly Matthews, the Associate Professor of English and the Education and Coordinator Advisor of the Liberal Studies Program, for inviting Miss Patricia Brown and I to speak to graduates of their education program. Patty and I presented to the graduates on their upcoming job search, and I was very pleased to see that we had actually already hired 2 of the graduates from the program to work at MPS. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity and the ongoing partnership in which we can support FSU student teachers and continue to develop our recruiting strategies. Now a special recognition for Mr. Dan Riley. Congratulations on earning your doctorate. Now, come on up. I just want to have the committee congratulate Dan. He has earned his doctorate from the University of Massachusetts. Congratulations, Dr. Riley.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Superintendent Bergeron. It's no secret that I feel like our city and our district does an outstanding job of supporting the growth of our teachers and our leaders. I'm just one example of that. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for all your support and encouragement over the years.
Great.
Thank you.
With that, I'll take any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions, Ms. Matthews?
And thank you for the information on the COVID and the protocols, and I don't know if it requires a motion or a conversation, but the change now, I think, is a right thing to do. And I appreciate you waiting to see where things were going. You know, there may be some people who thought, oh, we overreacted, but I'd rather be safe than sorry in the long run. So on that. And I want to say thank you to Mrs. Berry for being able to recognize somebody for helping with the teachers, because I know during that time it was horrible. I mean, it was either 5 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you had to refresh your page about 5,000 times and so on. With that, though, Mr. Mayor, now that tomorrow, most likely, Pfizer will get the approval to go to 12-year-olds, do you think there could be an effort made to coordinate something, whether it be through our Board of Health, Mr. Garside, and the hospital, or through the Kennedy operation at the courtyard, to possibly do some type of clinic for vaccinations for our high school students?
We've had discussions about that, and we're going to continue the discussion.
Okay, so, because I know there are other districts that have already planned theirs, so, good. Okay, good. I hope the parents hear that, so that
We'll get the parents down there first.
Well, you have a high percentage. What's our percentage for the city right now?
I think I'm not happy with the percentage, but I think it's higher than the state is reporting. So I think there's more people that have been vaccinated that it's not being reflected. But we're going to keep pushing people as fast as we can to get down there.
Yeah.
There's open appointments every day. So.
And Mr. Mayor, I don't want to harp on it, but I just want to also say, just go down there.
Yeah.
If you don't have an ID, go down there. If you don't have an insurance card, go down there. You can get the shot. So I don't want to harp on it too much, but I just want to continue to reinforce, please, we have this available to us right in the city. So right at the Marriott, please go on down there and get a shot.
And you don't need an appointment.
You don't need an appointment. They prefer an appointment, they prefer an insurance card and an ID. If you don't have an appointment, go down. If you don't have an insurance card, you can go down. If you don't have an ID or an appointment, you can go down. So they want to get people vaccinated. So we're making it easy as possible. You might wait a little longer if you don't have an appointment. It's as simple as that, though.
And we're going to continue our efforts to communicate to parents. We've sent out a message, thank you, Mr. Diaz, for spearheading that, in 3 languages to make sure that everyone got the same information. We're going to continue to update that and send it home. We don't want to harass people with an email every day in their inbox, but we do want to let people know that this is available.
And the hospital let us know that they were surprised how many of our teenagers were getting down there over the last couple of weeks. So, they think the message is starting and we're just at the beginning. So, Ms. Hennessy.
I just actually wanted to say to Ms. Berry, thank you to all of the teachers, all of the staff, and it's hard to not necessarily be able to go to all of the schools. Like, we've had that wonderful opportunity in years past, and I look forward to being able to do that down the road. But everyone across the district has just done an amazing job to try and make sure our students have been as well taken care of as possible. And we wish that we could go and greet every single one to make sure that they knew how grateful we are for their help and assistance. So I hope that you can continue to kind of spread the word amongst your troops again and again, that we really appreciate everyone's help. So thank you.
I appreciate that. People have been very professional and taking care of their kids.
Ms. Murphy.
Good evening. The MCAS test schedules have been added to the school calendars for the remaining schools. We all know that the high school had their special schedule this week. In past years, the MCAS window has been closed by the third week of May for students in grades 3 through 8. This year, MCAS has been scheduled through June. So for people planning vacations or family outings, just giving everyone a heads up about that. Remote families in grades 3 through 8 will be sent a schedule and a student responsibility agreement that must be signed and returned to the school. I included a copy of the form to my report. In both the letter to the families and the student responsibility, it is noted repeatedly that MCAS is an assessment that must be taken independently by the student. We are hoping to use this data combined with the NWEA MAP growth data to identify appropriate supports and interventions for students. Additionally, and I'm going to say this repeatedly, MCAS results could be used to set school and district targets in the future. Regardless of what we've been told, we know that this has happened in the past. So we want to make sure that it is actually our student data that we have our targets based on. The Title I sponsored parent SEL workshops. In my report last month, I updated the committee on a Title I sponsored SEL parent night. Based on parent feedback, we will offer the same workshop again in the fall. It was very positive, and I thought that more parents would benefit, and we will do it in person with babysitting and possibly pizza. We will also offer a fall in-person workshop titled Helping Your Kids to Be All That They Can Be, using a positive strength-based approach for effective parenting, presented by Charlie Appelstein, who has spoken to parents in our district before and to our staff. And so it's time to bring his message back and some support to parents and students. District-wide Anti-Bias, Anti-Racism Committee update. Throughout the year, the district-wide ABAR committee met monthly. They planned and led the November professional development for all staff, researched potential consultants and identified Dr. Khalees Warnham as our partner, and attended additional professional development trainings after school. They will continue to work with building leaders over the next months to support building-based professional development on August 30th after our keynote. I've also asked a subcommittee to present at the next meeting to share a document that will help us implement an annual curriculum review bias that supports our strategy for improvement as well. So this is just a preview to tell you that some committee members will be coming and presenting next month, and it's very exciting. Any questions?
Question from the committee. Any questions? Thank you very much. Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is tonight's update from Finance and Operations. Facilities update. The Facilities Department completed the tie-in of a new electrical service into Marlborough High School during April vacation. This was the last step in a major electrical service update for Marlborough High. Thanks to the flexibility of the staff during that week to allow us to do this. LED lights have been installed at Whitcomb Middle School. That the installation is complete. Lighting at all schools except here at Freeman and Marlborough High have been updated to LED lights. The 2 remaining schools will be worked on during this summer. Solar panel installations have been completed at Jarrick, Kane, and Marlborough High. Final punch list items and inspections are underway at those schools. And the work to install solar panels at Goodnow Brothers Elementary is well on its way and should be completed soon. These projects further enhance the city's position as a green community, and we're proud that our schools can be part of that effort. We thank General Foreman Dan Jackson and his team for successfully, somehow, managing all of these projects during the school year without any interruption to the learning environment of our students. School summer projects. We have identified the following projects to target this summer. Doesn't necessarily mean that we will be able to complete everything. We have to find some funding, but this is what we're targeting this summer. Over at DEC, we are transforming one existing science room into a staff training room. At Whitcomb, we are at rooms 379 and 378. We're updating appliances and installing a washer and dryer for special education programming. We're doing some restroom doors modification in some targeted restrooms, as well as partition upgrades also in some targeted restrooms. We're also trying to address intercom and clock issues at that site. At Marlborough High, we're working on some soundproofing for rooms 372A and B. Rooms 155 and 156, we're installing some nice appliances in the post-grad rooms, electric stoves, gas stoves, dishwashers, and 8-range hoods. Room 158, we are replacing cutting sewing machines in the sewing room, and we're also going to be targeting the replacement of some student lockers in certain hallways. Also, the intercom system at Marlborough High will be looked at. Here at Freeman, and ECC, room 201 and 310 will be transitioned into classrooms. Again, looking ahead to further expand capacity here in this building. And we're going to be upgrading the fire alarm system at this building as well as Jarrick. Additionally, as you know, we're utilizing federal one-time funds to address HVAC issues at Jarrick and Kane. Again, looking to utilize those funds to do some long-term impact capital projects at those two sites. So the procurement for that has began already. Again, we express our gratitude to school and city personnel that are involved in improving and maintaining our school buildings during the summer months. I always say that our schools are very well maintained, and we sincerely appreciate that. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Any questions? Thank you very much. Minutes of April 13th.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carries. Minutes of April 27th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, opposed, carries. Public participation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the public participation portion of this meeting, members of the public may provide comment by emailing the superintendent at superintendent@mps-edu.org before 4 p.m. on the above date, or by dialing 774-243-0611 with the conference of ID of 785-653-459 #. Again, that phone number is 774-243-0611 with the conference ID of 785-653-459 #. Mr. Mayor, I did not have any emails before the meeting.
Anyone wishing to participate from the public? Is there anyone wishing to participate? Any public participation? How are we doing, Mr. Diaz?
There are no callers at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. FY22 school choice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As required by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, prior to June 1st of each year, the school committee must vote whether or not the district will accept school choice students in the upcoming 2021-2022 school year. My recommendation to the school committee, as has been my recommendation for 7 years, is not to accept school choice at this time. We're on the cusp of getting our class sizes at Whitcomb where we want them to be. We're at the cusp of getting our class sizes at the elementary where we want them to be. And at the high school, I think it would be a future discussion. And I think last year I gave my opinion about the amount of money you receive for school choice and the cost of educating a student at the high school level, where that doesn't really balance out. You only receive $5,000 for a choice student. Costs of educating a high school student in Marlborough is close to $20,000. So I would ask the committee, once again, to deny school choice.
Questions from the committee? Ms. Matthews?
No, motion to not have school choice for 21-22 school year.
Motion made and seconded to approve this year to reject school choice. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next item is for the school committee to vote to, I'm sorry, I just lost the word, to make obsolete some music equipment that has run its life. And Mr. Rosenthal has provided us with some pictures, background, and we will try to sell this equipment. If we can't, I think we'll try to find it a good home. I'm looking at Mr. Diaz, he's saying yes. So we have 6 guitars that are obsolete. We're looking to move these on to a better place, and we've already upgraded all of the guitars to a classical nylon string. So Mr. Rosenthal is asking to remove these items.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion?
Can I just ask a question? If somebody is interested in purchasing one, to whom should they direct their request?
Mr. Jonathan Rosenthal. Yep. And his email is right on our website if you look under the staff section.
Okay. Any further discussion? Mr. Caruso?
Just a quick question. Where does this money go when how does that work?
Anytime that the district would receive funds from basically selling an item, that money goes back to the city's general fund. These were bought in a prior fiscal year, we can't then use it to purchase anything else. We just need to give it back to the city.
Yes. I didn't think there were millions involved. I was just curious which way it was going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Transfers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have some transfers in the FY21 budget for the school committee to consider tonight. Here at ECC, we're requesting a transfer of $2,000 from the behavior tech line to offset overages in the clerical overtime line. At Goodnow, requesting a transfer of $3,015, utilizing the custodian line to offset overages in custodian overtime and 12-month clerk lines. At Jarrick, requesting a transfer of $6,000 from the BT line to offset overages in custodial OT. At Kane, requesting a transfer of $3,500, utilizing the paraprofessional line to offset overages in the charge custodian and custodial OT. At Whitcomb, requesting a transfer of $6,500, utilizing night custodian line to offset overages in art teacher, 12-month clerical, charge custodian, and custodian OT line. At Marlborough High, requesting a transfer of $11,980, $10,250 of which is utilizing savings from the substitute line to offset overages in the 12-month clerical line and art teacher line due to a long-term sub. $1,730 is utilizing savings from the leadership supplies line to offset overages in special education supplies, virtual high school, and science supplies lines.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. School committee student representative, Ms. Bowden-Hettinger.
You, Mr. Chair. So I brought this up at the last meeting regarding a request from Mary Ellen King at the high school regarding some guidance on how we wanted to handle the kind of parameters of the student advisory council as well as the student rep positions. It did go to policy. I will defer to Mrs. Hennessy to tell us what policy.
So I think our discussion around policy, but as well in looping in Allison Lucas, who's currently in the position, was hopefully utilizing June as a bit more of a transition time period, so that there's an opportunity for the person that would currently be sitting in the position to have the opportunity to come back during the June meeting if they want. Considering that it would be after graduation, we obviously shouldn't be making somebody, but Allison voiced that she would have a lot of interest in being able to come back so she could let everybody know how things have gone for graduation and any kind of feedback. And I thought we really felt like it would be a great opportunity to have that opportunity for that voice. As well, it would provide a good transition because the new representative that would have already been voted upon could also attend to understand and watch kind of what's going on and make that transition, have any questions answered by the person that had been doing the job. So we weren't really feeling like there necessarily needed to be a change within the policy language, but much more of a discussion with Mary Ellen Klein as the advisor to discuss that idea and see if that was something that they were amenable to.
Excellent.
The question. So the student advisor is June 30th to July 1st to June 30th? Technically?
So the way that the policies are written, and particularly around the student rep position, it is embedded in Mass General Law that the student rep is decided by June 1st. So our policy, and in fact, the practice is that what happens is the entire student body elects the student advisory committee. Then, from that committee, they choose who the student rep will be. And all of that takes place prior to June 1st. So there is nothing in the policy or in the law that says really when the position starts or when the position ends. So the only date we have is June 1st. So then the question was,
Well, actually, it does, I'm sorry. It does, it says 1 year. So it does say 1 year, so that would be until May 30th, I guess, of the next year. The law does say that.
Well, it says 1 year, but it just says that the person has to be elected by June 1st. It doesn't say that they have to take office June 1st. We're elected in November, but we don't start till January, right? So there's nothing that specifies, because if that were to be the case, then Allison couldn't come back after June because she would be gone. But since it doesn't specify that, it leaves it open to whatever we would like to do. And
So we can't make it 13 months.
Well,
no, it is 1 year.
It is 1 year,
The
but
term is
that's-
1 year. It's just not clear when that year starts.
And that's why we were working on an interpretation of making sure that what did we as a committee, what were we hoping for, as well as how could we work with the high school and Mary Ellen Klein being the advisor. So
Why couldn't we simply, obviously, June 1st, we can, the new person starts that's a junior?
Yes, arising,
Okay.
usually arising.
Presumably, doesn't have to be,
No,
but
but
presumably.
they come to meetings in June if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But we add a section to the policy that says we invite the past student advisor to participate in the meeting through June 30th as a separate.
Well, again, because it may not be a senior.
And I think that that's really why it may not.
So it could, if you
So
stick
we
to
could
the July 1.
we could certainly put in language about inviting them to participate. I mean, I don't think anyone would be necessarily opposed to
Yeah,
that. I think that we were allowing for the nuances to occur by us stating what our hopes were and the advisor working within that committee about, but I mean, if you would like to have language in there, we can certainly do that. It's not, it's up to you all. I don't think we were feeling like there had to be language in there, but we can, whatever would please the committee.
Can I offer a suggestion of that the advisor be told that once the new person is nominated or elected for the position come June 1st, they are welcome to participate in the remaining meetings in the month of June. If they don't want to, then they just wait till September. But that would be our hope, that they and the leaving and the new one.
Or if you make me come during the summer again like you did last year, they could participate.
Would you like to? We can do a few of those.
So do you want that written into policy?
I don't think it belongs there.
Okay, well, that's kind of where we were feeling like it didn't need to be written into policy. That was more of us articulating to the advisor
needs to know that.
so that they know. But again,
Yeah.
The availability of the outgoing person would probably, not in the case right now, but in other people would probably be very limited if they're out of school.
Maybe
So-
not.
Only if it's a senior.
That's what I'm saying, if it's a senior,
Yeah.
which it is a lot of times.
Many times.
Oftentimes,
So
yeah.
therefore, a lot of times, the outgoing person is not available or not.
And some
not
have
interested in-
participated and some haven't.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know that it's, has to be defined, and, because then it gives them an opportunity to break the rule.
I think
You know what I mean?
from what Ms. Bodenhender is saying, it's more for the advisor to know what
When
the
they start.
expectation is.
exactly. Our hope would be that it would be used as a transitional month, if you will.
Yeah.
So if the person that has been sitting can continue to come, that would be great. And if the person that has just been elected can participate, so we have the two people here, great. And if they can't, we make do with whomever the wonderful person is that would like to come.
Is that good?
Fair enough. There was a second question posed by Ms. Klein as well, that the students on the SAC were requesting that they have some kind of introductory session with the school committee prior to their first presentation. I don't remember what the months are. Every other month, the SAC, like they did this evening, come and give us a report. So we could do it in a formal meeting, and they were asking for a Teams meeting, or less than a quorum of us could meet with them and just answer any questions that they may have. My guess is, one thing that I have found, it seems to me that Ms. Klein, over the past number of years, has been trying to make this whole exercise more structured, more kind of professional. Like I remember many years ago, I felt like the SAC students would come to us and basically just tell us the sports scores. That's basically what those reports were. And these students that we've had this year and last year have really been talking about, important things. Obviously, COVID has brought up many new things to investigate, but hearing from students about mental health issues is phenomenal, and that's great information for us to hear as well as the staff. So, I think Ms. Klein has really coached them to, look at some of these topics. But so the students were asking for some sort of Teams type meeting prior to the school year, and I would like to hear from you all how we want to handle that.
Mr. Crusoe.
Ms. Bodenhender, does the MASC have any type of a training
Yes.
thing as well that we can
Yes, in
access?
fact, so I actually hosted a training a couple years ago, 2 years ago, I think? Yep, 4 student reps from across the state. And yes, there is kind of a curriculum, there's like a manual. Ms. Klein does have that. And we certainly can get more of that. We could do a more formalized training. But yes, at least once a year, MASC does offer that for students. When I hosted it, we hosted it at Assabet on a Saturday morning. And we had, students come from the region.
Maybe we could, once we figure out what and how we would do that, we could, and the timing of it could be well before June, so they know what they're getting into when they put their hat in the ring on their people, on their, once they realize what is involved, which isn't, well, I know it's not a lot, but.
Well, June is in like 3 weeks, so whether or not.
I'm sorry, what?
June is in like 3 weeks.
No, I don't mean today, I'm saying in years going forward.
Okay.
If we do like a training, or like you said, that curriculum that MASC has, maybe we time it before their election.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's a
I'm
good
pretty
idea or
sure,
not.
I'll double check with her, but I'm pretty sure that Ms. Klein has all the information from that training.
Okay.
And that she is sharing it with them. I am going on the assumption that that's accurate. I can't guarantee that that's accurate.
Tennessee.
But yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
So I was going to actually suggest that maybe we could do something at the beginning of the school year, only from a standpoint that, as you can tell, I have a child that's now doing this, and I feel like she'll often come to me asking if there are any ideas of things. And I think that that might be something where if we were to have a meeting with them in August, there might be ideas that the committee could kind of throw out to the kids about topics that we might want to hear about, that they would then be able to then pay attention throughout the school year and then actively bring in information, because I think that that's one of the things that Ms. Klein's been working with them to not just, come with something basic, but have a little bit more in depth. And I think they want to have something where they're bringing forth useful information.
Agreed.
So I think if we could help them by having that meeting, then we might be able to brainstorm with them about different topics, throughout the year that they might be able to talk about. I don't know. I'd offer that up.
So we could do it like in a workshop meeting that's a posted meeting with us and the kids on teams.
Right.
We could do that as a committee of the whole, or we could do kind of a subcommittee, 2 or 3 of us, not 4 of us, because that would be a quorum.
If you were talking August, why couldn't we just set up the students at some meeting down at the school and kind of announce it to all of us, and the first 3 that respond, go down and just talk to the kids? Just as an informal, just talk to them about the process that we go through.
That's an option also.
Or we have just a meeting down there for the simple, let's have tea and crumpets.
If that's permissible, they specifically asked for a Teams meeting, but
Yep,
we
either-
could do that.
By then, I hope we're
hope so,
back in
too.
business.
Yeah.
So,
So,
we're
the
open to any
pleasure.
suggestions.
Right,
I would also suggest that if we go with, we were talking about doing our workshop in August again, and when we build goals and have those conversations, we can also strategize some topics to possibly send their way.
that's a possibility too. But I would like to get back to Mrs. Klein, Ms. Klein, as to how we want to proceed. I mean, do we want to do it as a committee of the whole, or do we want to do it in a smaller number of us?
I think an informal group of 3, and not even determine the 3 at this time, but an informal group of 3 may be able to have more open and general discussion for anything they want to throw out. These are meeting related, and oh, by the way, how do I become a school committee member?
Okay, are we all comfortable with that?
What are we comfortable with them? Because little confused here, what we.
But we'll just do an informal, so 3 of us will go in September.
I don't know, I'm sorry, I just think it's, since we're all on the committee they'll be talking with, I think the workshop idea to me is better.
But I think that it's almost like they're overwhelmed when they're, sitting in front of 7 of us. So I'm trying to calm, make it less formal but I mean, whatever you guys want to do, I'm okay with either way. I really.
Well, I also think that over the last few years, it's been somebody who has been giving reports, like in the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, that they're kind of familiar with us, that I do think they could be intimidated to meet in front of all of us at the same time. That a small group is a good idea. That's how I would like to see it go.
Okay, so we'll make a motion.
Move to engage with the SAT students in the fall, August, September timeframe, with a subcommittee of the full committee.
To be chosen at a later date.
To be chosen at a later date.
Motion made and seconded to approve the motion. Further discussion, Mr. Caruso.
Chosen how? That's my question.
I'm going to point my finger.
By volunteer.
By volunteer.
If you want to do it, you
It's
can do it.
available.
I volunteer too, that's what I'm getting at,
I think we.
If enough of us want to do it,
Post the
to
meeting.
make it more than a quorum, then we can post it. But the difference is, I mean, it's not going to be a formal meeting
It's
televised.
intended to be informal.
be a little
If
bit
6
more-
want to go, we post it.
And the
Simple as
likelihood
that.
of all 7 of us being able to find a date just kind of off the
Right.
cuff is pretty minimal. So that way we'll see what is available and those that can come.
Right, and if it's more than a quorum, then we will post it as a meeting.
Okay. I'm good with that.
All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Donations and gifts, anonymous, MPS, $3,288.
Motion to approve with gratitude to Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous.
Motion to approve, and thank you very much, anonymous. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Box Tots for Education, Whitcomb School, $18.90.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Adopt a Classroom, Richard School, Mrs. McCann's Classroom, $250.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Mass DESI FY21 COVID Prevention Fund Program, MPS, $288,300.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Reports of subcommittees.
Policy did meet. We have more to meet. Thanks so much.
Mrs. Matthews.
I would like to report out that we have reached tentative agreements with both our para-educators and our administrative group, the Unit B, as of today, and I want to thank them for the time spent. And we will begin IBB negotiations with our teachers next week. The first session will be for training, and then we have sessions scheduled, and I look forward to sitting around the table with everyone.
Thank you. Members Forum. Ms. Matthews.
I have read the warrant, and I will be signing it.
Okay. Any other members? Seeing none.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much.